they seem as one. Of course, they're now number 5. They're now number 5 with our 4th edition of the Bundle of Joy called Alana May. And I think the smallest child sometimes finds the auntie attention somewhat overwhelming. So how does a dad feel when he passes over one of his treasures into someone else's hands? I would like the girls to come and join me. I'm going to read a poem again. Come on. It's a different one. Yes, bring your envelopes. Different one. Those who work for the week, I'll do the same thing to them. Louise goes first. I need egg on you, can't start. I need some glasses.
Hello?
Off we go. This is called Father-Daughter Moments.
My daughter said something the other day. We were sitting on the front steps talking. Someone wanted to enter the building. She stood up and said, "We're just having a father-daughter moment."
My daughter is still young, only 27, and hearing her say that, my heart swelled with pride. She still wants to have moments with her father. My adult daughter still needed me.
So much is said about the mother-daughter bond, that the bond between father and daughter is just as strong. No matter how old she is, she's still a daddy's little girl, and he always wants to be there.
Father-daughter moments last a lifetime, from playground accidents to a broken heart. You do your best to help her pain go away, because when she's in pain, you are too. You can sit down. Sacha, you are rightly proud, or as you said earlier, quite proud of your son. And we are very happy to welcome him as our son-in-law. You're not losing a son, and Imogen and Nathan are not losing a brother. You are, for better or worse, gaining a whole new family. Be afraid. At this time, Barbara and I feel great happiness and pride, tinged with a little sadness. However, we do know that our number 2 daughter will be in safe hands, and also know that Luke will take as much care of Rebecca as we would. They're a delightful couple, obviously in love, and they treat each other with respect and kindness. Family and friends, please be upstanding to toast the bride and groom and wish them a long, happy life together. The bride and groom. Bride and groom. Thank you.
It's a bit formal, isn't it?
We're
not the way the camera.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. It's fine.
Thank you very much for handing the speaking phone over to me, Mark. In an act of considerable naivety, I boldly came to Mark about 3 months ago that he would not be able to find any incriminating photos of me. It turns out I was horribly, horribly whoever from my stag do got that dress photo out, find me later. You're
It's my dress and you look better in.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I do, of course, use the term gentleman very loosely, not just because of the current state of my best man, Laurie. Gentleman's a loose term. But I also know for a fact there are a couple of Hull City fans here this evening. Exactly, I'll rest my case. Now, the next sentence is something I've been looking forward to saying for a very, very long time, so let me just clear my throat.
Yeah.
My wife and I. My wife and I would like to thank every single one of you who are here today. Hosting a wedding in the middle of England has meant almost all of you have travelled very far to be here. You've probably booked hotel rooms. You've dished out lavishly on gifts to us, and it means a huge, huge amount. Without you here, it would not be the day it was. Thank you so much for being here. It means so much to us. Now, I would like to... I'd also like to point out that Mark did a round the room of everybody who's travelled from far away in the middle of nowhere. He actually forgot Laurie, who's made it all the way from Bedford to be here. I'm just going with punches in early, Laurie.
You'll get your turn.
So I'd like to start my wife and my thank yous with my new in-laws, Mark and Barbara. Today really has been absolutely spectacular. I do not think it would have been anywhere near what it could have been without all your support and help. Not only have you made it possible, you've also made it affordable. I think everybody appreciates just how wonderful today has been. One of my initial impressions of Becky wasn't just how beautiful she was and how out of my league she was. It was that she was sensible and had a really careful, rational head behind her. And that's because I think of your brilliant parenting. You alluded to it earlier, but you've raised four wonderful daughters. Right now, you have raised four wonderful daughters, and I think that'd be the envy of any family. You should be very proud of yourself. But now, despite that, I'd just like all the single men in here to know, who may have their eye on a couple of the Smith girls, that it does come a slight barrier. There's a slight barrier if you want to date one of the Smith girls. And it's not dealing with a constant wall of noise, it's facing an interrogation from this person. There's Barbara. This is a reconstruction, you might imagine, of what I faced the first time I went to visit Aunt Barbara. Now, you can imagine the scene. You're relatively nervous. You're falling in love with this beautiful lady, and you want to impress the parents. So you think, you'd be welcome in, maybe go and watch the football and have a few chats. What I got instead was what's commonly known within the Smith circles as Bab's interrogation. Here are some of the questions I had to face. First one. Are you an actor? Fortunately, I can say I passed this question with relative ease. It got a bit better. Are you a serial killer? Again, no, Barbara, I am not a mass murderer. Even worse, though, this was a tough one. What are your prospects like? Never have I needed my sales skills as much lately. Toughest question of all, this is the one I nearly crumbled on. How is your relationship with my daughter going? It's a question like that. But I'm very, very happy to say I survived this interrogation. I've come from, I suppose, a relatively small family into a very, very large one in comparison. And you've all been so welcoming. I'd like to thank, and if I forget any surnames here, I do apologise, the Smiths, the Frempons, the Fithians, the Quatains, and the Harrises, and everybody else related to Becky. You've let, as Lou alluded to, a very posh southerner into your lives. He doesn't like cheese, and he occasionally refers to Nottingham Forest as Notts Forest, which is huge. So despite all of that, you've been extremely welcome to me, and I thank you so much. Now I'd like to move on to my own family, in particular my mum. Mum, this is the bit I found the hardest to write of my whole speech, so I hope I do it justice. How can I put into words everything you've done for us? Both myself, my brother Nat, and my sister Imo. As a family, we've been through times tougher than any family I think should have to face. You've been rational, you've been thoughtful, you've shown never-ending care, and you've shown so much self-sacrifice. I think no matter the metaphorical bombs, bullets, and grenades that we've launched at us as a four, you've been there to protect us and shield us, and when that wasn't possible, you've been there to heal us. Despite everything, you've managed to raise 3 happy, healthy children, and it really, really is all down to you. Imo, Nat, and I can never be thankful enough for everything you have done. So now I'd like to propose my first of 3 toasts, and it's the most important thing that none of us can live without. Could you please all be on your feet? And the first toast is to family. To family. To family. Thank you. Now, it's a very, very small comparative thank you, but for my mum and Barbara, we have a couple of bouquets of flowers for you. So, Becky, could you hand them over? You can all sit down.
Yeah, thanks.
Because now I've got the room control. Okay, I'll keep going.
Sorry,
No, you're right.
I'm going, sorry.
No, I'll keep going. So there are also obviously
When I'm walking around with flowers in front of me.
so obviously the bridegroom speech is mainly focused on thank yous. So there are a few specific people that Mark's already alluded to that we'd really like to specifically thank for all their efforts today. And if I do forget anyone, I do apologise. What I'd like everyone to do is hold off the applause to the very end, and we'll give them one big, huge round of applause. So, first of all, to Karen, thank you so much for making Becky and all the bridesmaids look truly stunning by doing their makeup today. At the end. Margaret, for an absolutely sensational cake. I thought it would be good, but I didn't think it would be quite that good. And it's a memory of my childhood that I remember very fondly. Truly surprised myself with that cake. To our wonderful musicians in the church today, Pete and Richard, Ellie, Abby and Steve, truly phenomenal. For reading the prayers, Becky's godmothers Diane and Dinah, and also for their beautiful readings, Jackie and Kate. Can I have a huge round of applause for every single one of those? Thank you. Now, the next part of my speech is typically the saddest part, which is where you remember absent friends who are unfortunately not here today. Now, I thought I could go one of two ways. I could go the traditional way with this part of the speech, and we could have quite a morose toast to them. I thought, actually, no, all these wonderful people who touch our lives are not here. They wouldn't want that. They want a happy toast. They want a lot of cheer. So when I do propose this toast, I please want you to do it with a smile. Think of your loved ones that you've lost and how lucky you've been to know all of them. So I'll read this out as carefully as I can. Becky's grandparents, Edward and Agnes, my brother Simon and his wife Andrea, my sister-in-law Tracy and my good mate Kyle. All of these wonderful people are not here today, and I know if they were here, they want you all to be smiling when you do this next toast. So please, all on your feet. A toast to absent friends. Thank you. Okay, just a couple more thank yous from me. The first one is the most attractive group of friends in the room, which are of course Becky's, I use the word flotilla of bridesmaids. You've been a huge support to Becky in the run-up to the wedding and on today particularly. You organised a really fantastic hen dinner, Leeds, of which you saw the after effects earlier, and you all look absolutely stunning. I'd also personally like to thank you for making sure that Becky, probably against her better judgment, made it to the church today. Thank you very much. This is the last toast from me. On your feet again. To the bridesmaids. Bridesmaids. Thank you. Okay. Right, so from the most attractive section of friends to the, I suppose, more moderately attractive, I'd like to thank my army of ushers. You all start up very well. Thank you for being a great support today, doing everything I've asked for, making sure I didn't get too stressed out. You can all add bus conductor to your CV. So that's and I'd also like to thank you for keeping me alive in my stag do, despite Laurie's best efforts. So now, that's the thank yous done, and I'd like to now come on to, of course, the most important part of my speech, my ex-girlfriend. Now, I thought, how can I describe my relationship with Becky? What can I use? Now, I'm sure you all know I'm a finance analyst. I'm sure you also all know I'm also a bit of a geek. So I thought, what can I do to describe it? And I thought, I can get hold of some data on this. What better way to describe a relationship than every single text message we ever sent to each other? Now, don't worry, you're not going to have to read every single one. We'll be here all night. But I thought I'd sort of crunch some of the numbers on this data. I'll get to participate in this as well. First off, if you think I've already got carried away, you wait and see what's coming up. This bit is the falling in love stage, I think, where we peaked in around October, November. This bit, a bit further on, after a few months, is the bit where I think she realised I was a bit boring. This bit, I don't even see it, kind of we're around sort of 150 here, and then there's a bit of a spike, and that's when you propose to your girlfriend, she becomes your fiancée. and all the messages backwards and forwards come organised in today's special day. So, here's a bit of a quiz for you. Oh no, sorry, I've gone too far. These are the very first 2 texts that Becky and I ever sent each other. We met at a house party, we barely stopped talking to each other all night, we were talking for about 5 hours.
Can you read them out?
I will, of course, yeah, I'm sure some of you can't see it. So, some of these are backstories which we'll explain to you later if you'd like to know. So, on October the 11th at 3 in the morning, I got a text saying, and bear in mind she was the first to text, this is just after we said goodbye to each other. Hey Luke, it was nice to meet you. I've now decided to do my dissertation on penguin care and management. We'll explain it to you. Maybe some work experience at the London Zoo. Now, what I'd like you to draw your attention to is my reply in green. Now, for those who can read it, well, for those who can't read it, I shall read out to you and I'll do my best. If thou didn't veer first, I would be amazed. The imbalance of penguins is a massive issue. Full stop, our world. I assure you I was not drunk. This is what happens when your phone goes off in your pocket. This is not intentional. But this is not the most remarkable thing about this text. And every single one of my friends here will know this acutely. It's the time I replied. Now, that is less than 30 minutes or so before a previous text, which for me is in a world record. So true. Yeah, exactly. Very, very true, I'm afraid. So I think you can all know I was very, very keen. Now, next, here's a bit of a quiz for you. This is the number of texts I have sent to Becky. For those who can't read it, I'm at about 4,500.